Houston had some success, trapping Steph and really getting out on him. Is this sustainable for you guys to keep dropping the big so far?
Did they? I can't remember. When he had 33 in the second half, were they trapping then?
Yes.
They were, and he scored 33 in the second half.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll look at that.
But Steph has got the defense so extended, 35 feet away from the basket. That's unheard of. And how do you defend that? How do you defend that?
Stephen Curry has been lighting up everyone in these playoffs. Bang! Teams have tried multiple defenses and it just doesn't seem to work.
Because Steph has split the double team, Steph has stopped before the double team shot the ball. This time, he kept dribbling and forced the defense to come to him.
Very difficult for teams to match up with Steph.
This is the defense to slow down Curry. What is up, dudes, dudettes, ballers, players? It's your boy MJ. We saw two polar opposite defenses on Stephen Curry. One by the Rockets in Game 6 and one in Game 1 by the Trailblazers. Curry cooked the Trailblazers alive. And newsflash, both defenses failed. So I wanted to break down the best way to slow down Stephen Curry, specifically in the playoffs and without Kevin Durant. You hit over 3,000 likes on my previous video, and so I'm dropping this one for you today. And if you're part of the 92% that watch my videos that still ain't subscribed, please subscribe. We're gonna have to look at defenses that teams have used that haven't worked, and then defenses that seem like they have. Let's first start with the two types of defenses on Curry we have seen these playoffs. Since Durant has joined the Warriors, we haven't seen the Warriors in the playoffs without Durant, but we have seen the core of Curry, Klay, Green, and Iguodala perform in the playoffs without Durant. And so Curry has seen so many defenses geared to stop him as the main man in the Warriors offense. What the Rockets did in Game 6 was actually very similar to what the Cavs did in the 2016 NBA Finals. You know, the year the Warriors blew a 3. It's an old joke. On pick and rolls, both defenders involved would step up and trap Curry, forcing it out of his hands as quickly as possible. The Rockets used this defense after Curry initially got going in the third quarter, while the Cavs ran this defense throughout the 7 games in that series. The Cavs most of the time switched on the pick and rolls, but they threw that in there to make Curry uncomfortable. The Trailblazers even did on some possessions to some success when Seth Curry would get a tip steal or steal the ball from Steph outright. That brotherly love. In Game 6 against the Rockets, Curry definitely was stopped on those traps, but the Warriors pretty much didn't ISO pick and roll, and so the roller had the whole court to work with in a 4v3 situation. Curry would dump it off to Green, and his abilities would take over from there. I broke down Draymond Green's offense and defense in my last video, so you might want to check that out. Either way, this defense would effectively take Curry out of the play, but leaves the rest of the defense to fail. In Game 1 of these Western Conference Finals, the Trailblazers ran the no switch, no trap defense, and that worked really well for Curry. They had the big man drop down and give up the 3? Honestly, you would think this is a horrible defense for the regular season, let alone these playoffs. Even in Game 4, they ran the trap on Curry, but Curry was able to get around the big man and drive to the rim. But the best defense on Curry was by the Rockets last year and the Cavs in the finals in 2016. The key to slowing down Curry would be a combination of all these defenses, so let's start with what the Cavs did. The Cavs have matched up with Curry a lot of times and have tried various defenses, all in attempts to disrupt Curry and essentially make him uncomfortable. Easier said than done. Remember Delly, the Curry stopper in 2015? Dellavedova earned his name for being pesky, but even so, Curry averaged 26 points in those finals off of 44% from the field and 39% from 3, so Curry really wasn't stopped, but everyone sort of thought, hey, Physical defense seemed to annoy him, but that didn't really mean that a single person is going to slow down or stop Curry because Curry is not an ISO heavy player. Curry ran about 4.5 possessions of ISO per game in the playoffs pre-Kevin Durant and only 2.5 possessions of ISO per game post-Kevin Durant. Defending Curry has always been a team effort and scheme. The 2016 Cavs did a pretty good job at forcing the ball out of Curry's hands and, more importantly, having the big step up on the switch. This prevented the roller, usually Draymond Green, from getting free and prevented a wide open three from Curry right after a pick. It did create a mismatch between Curry and the big man, which is not the best, but it's also not the worst depending on the big man switch. Tristan Thompson had relative success in contesting threes and not allowing Curry to simply drive by without some effort. Why? Because Curry likes threes and layups over mid-ranges. I just realized Curry is a dream for people in analytics. He shoots threes and layups, doesn't shoot long twos. What if analytics were adapted to explain Curry's greatness so that they could be accepted as actual basketball fact? NBA conspiracy theory! Hey guys, it's MJ, and Tristan Thompson held Curry to under 35% from the field when defending him. Having the big man step up and run Curry off the three-point line has worked with a capable big man defender. Run him off the three and you force him to beat you with layups. Curry is still an excellent finisher, but the Warriors are a different team with Curry hitting the three. Curry hitting a three is a huge momentum booster, and just one three is enough for Curry to get going while also demoralizing the entire defense. Chauncey Billups said that he'd rather have Steph get 14 points and 14 assists over 40 points because those 40 points boost the whole Warriors team more than the 14 assists. Other big men with bad perimeter defense have gone roasted alive by Curry. Roasted alive! The Cavs tended to not trap after seeing Tristan do a relatively good job, and that meant the rest of the defense would be in place and not out of sorts. Because Draymond and Bogut weren't good post scorers, there were no real mismatches that could be taken advantage of besides Curry and Thompson. The Warriors also don't spend time trying to get a specific ISO matchup for Curry. While with Durant, they may try to pick on a certain defender for the ISO, with Curry, they want to spend most of the shot clock looking for an open shot with a lot of off-ball movement or trying to set up a simple pick and roll for Curry to operate from. What the Rockets did last year was an interesting approach and one that seemed to wear down Curry. Curry only shot 32.5% from three, which is his second lowest three-point percentage in a playoff series for him. The Rockets attacked Curry relentlessly on the offensive end and as a team constantly switched on the pick and roll. And Curry missed shots that he would normally make. There is only so much energy to expend and stars pick their moments, but with Steph, he is always moving off ball on the offensive end so he doesn't get possessions off. If he has to expend more energy on the defensive end avoiding the switch or playing on-ball defense on the best player, he can't do as much on the offensive end. On top of that, he might also get into foul trouble. Curry also had his worst three-point shooting series against the Rockets this year at 27% from three, and while he did miss a couple of open shots, Curry said his inconsistent minutes were a big reason why, because he would have to go into the bench without getting into the flow of the game and after getting into foul trouble, and therefore he would never find his flow within the game. So keeping all this in mind, the best on-ball defense against Curry needs to be a combination of all these things, and not every team has that personnel to make it work. You need a committed physical defender on Curry, someone who can just make Curry work a little bit harder on the offensive end, a guy that would pick him up 94 feet. Bruce Bowen, one of the best perimeter defenders in NBA history, said that he noticed that Steph doesn't like it if you're putting a hand on him as he is moving off ball, so that could offset him. Bruce Bowen also did this. So you also need a mobile big man that can switch onto the pick and roll, and more importantly, come out to trap Curry and quickly rotate back. This big man needs to be committed to running Curry off the 3-point line and then switching back to the big man. While this gives up a layup, as long as the defender doesn't leave his feet, you can play Curry into the paint. Since it's a 5v4 at that point with the big man trailing behind, the defense can still recover to guard Curry and rotate over to the nearest pass. Teams like the Raptors and Bucks have the personnel to make all this happen. Siakam for the Raptors and Giannis for the Bucks can be that big man that is matched up with Draymond and that can stay with Curry after the switch. On the offensive side, you need to attack Curry because he is their weakest defender and to wear him down. Curry is not a bad defender by any NBA standards, but he is their weakest link, and so it makes sense to attack him. On top of that, you're killing two birds with one stone by wearing down his stamina. This past series against the Rockets, Curry was often in foul trouble, and it worked, as if you keep Curry off the floor, he can't make shots. 1000 IQ. These are the best practices to defend Curry on ball, well, at least based off past experiences. Make Curry beat you with 2s over 3s, because those 3s get everyone involved and also draw more attention on him off ball. Kobe said the best: you need to take a player out of his rhythm and comfort zone. You won't be able to stop the greats, but you can slow them down. It's sage wisdom. Don't give Curry the 3 because that gets him going. Force him out of his rhythm and comfort zone by forcing him off the 3-point line. I think it's also important for a team to know how to defend Stephen Curry in the clutch because the Warriors are experienced in getting the shots they want. For instance, the clutch shots against the Rockets this series came from the right wing. Curry likes shooting going to his right, and if he's creating his shot off the dribble, he likes going to the right wing to do so. I'm not saying that he can't shoot shots going to his left, because he can. He's the best shooter in NBA history. Of course he can shoot going left. But don't give Curry what he wants. Even in Game 7 of the 2016 NBA Finals, Curry tried to shoot going to his right. Also, Curry is a righty and his shooting hand is on the right side, so it would make sense to not let him go right. With Curry, you also have to really focus on another aspect of defense, which is off-ball defense. And that is an entirely different story that has a simple answer. Don't leave him open and don't miscommunicate. That is extremely hard to do with all the off-ball screens, all the backdoor cuts, all the movement. There is one specific adjustment a defender can do, at least to stop some of the movement, and that is to stay on his hip and force him one way. Curry will beat you if you're trying to figure out which way he's going and trying to stop that one way. But if you hold your ground and force him to cut only a certain direction, you can at least direct him into defense. A guy like Dellavedova would be nice who would fight through everything, but that's not always possible. A whole lineup that can switch everything would be great so that all the screens can be switched on instantaneously, but not every team has that either. The best defense against Curry off ball would probably be a guy named Draymond Green, who would call out switches, rotate, and roam to disrupt him, but there's only one Green. So what I'm saying is that you need to be perfect. That's impossible. And yet, that's what every team faces. Steph doesn't test the individual defender as much as your team defense. Curry's greatest strength is his gravity and how he draws so much attention from moving off ball that it leads to wide open shots for his teammates. That wouldn't be the case if there were no miscommunications, but that's always going to happen. There's also one other way to stop Curry, and that is to put Kevin Durant on the same team as him. Durant by no means the selfish player, but part of his offense is the ISO. It works for him and for the Warriors, but it shuts down the Warriors' off-ball movement and also takes the ball out of Curry's hands. And honestly, it's just not as fun to watch the ball stay still. So yeah, in short, there's no way to completely shut down Curry, but there is a way to slow him down and a best way to defend him. But we'll see what happens in the NBA Finals and what new defensive schemes we see there. But what do you think? What's going to be the NBA Finals matchup? Will Steph finally win Finals MVP? Drop a like for Steph Curry in these playoffs, cause he's been freaking special. Also, please subscribe. The video grind is back and there's special stuff on the way for 200k. The Instagram shout of the day goes to George and the all-day notification shout goes to ZaFlex. Thanks for the all-day support. Make sure to bell for all-day notifications, and if you're not a sub, hit that subscribe button to join the all-day community for more fire content, all-day support. It's your boy MJ. We out.
Okay, just hop in my spaceship. Okay, just hop in my spaceship. No, no.